Hey everybody, my name is Wes.
My name is Matt.
And today we're talking about summertime signups.
Summertime signups, all right. We're getting ahead of the curve now. We're still in spring, but we're looking forward to the summer. All right, let's do it.
And I already see Angel in the chat saying, I love VBS. Yeah, we're going to be talking about VBS because that's
We're big fans.
one of the biggest ones for signups.
Of course.
And then we'll be talking about, what was the other sign up? Camp, summer camp.
Mm-hmm.
We figured, those are the two really biggest ones that we could kind of use to focus in on today.
The workshop that I did with the church just like an hour ago was with a summer camp.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a summer camp organization.
Where are they located, just out of curiosity?
Philadelphia.
Okay, very cool. So that is what we're talking about today, how to do all the things signups. Before we jump into all the stuff, just a few things I want to mention. First, YouTube channel. If you are like me and you like to learn by watching videos, because sometimes reading all the words is just hard and I'd rather just watch a video. We have a lot of videos on our YouTube channel. Just search ChurchTrac on YouTube, you'll find it. We have step-by-step videos of literally everything in the software, plus previous webinars and live streams and everything else in between. And Matt, we have another resource that's pretty awesome as well.
We also have a Facebook user group. And by the way, I'm dropping links into the chat for both of these things, the YouTube channel and the Facebook group. But we have a Facebook group with thousands of ministers from all over the world. We would love for you to request to join. It's a private group, so you do have to request. But if you're just taking a look at ChurchTrac and wanting to learn more, you can join that and ask questions there as well. But it's a great community with ministers from all over the world that love ministry and love ChurchTrac so much that if you ever have questions about either of those things, they would love to help you out. So go ahead and join.
And the last but not least, I just want to mention that help button. When you're using ChurchTrac, we try to make it super easy to get help. Anytime you're in the software, if you click that help button on that top right, that'll bring a drop down where you can go and straight to ask us a question, create a support ticket, or you can view our online user guide with this sweet handy dandy search tool. So if you're wanting to learn how to do something like maybe print checks, well, I could just search checks and there you go. I can learn how to print out checks from ChurchTrac with the accounting. So really great resource. Just want to throw that out there. Okay, so we're going to talk about signups today. I like to keep things pretty simple. So really what we're going to be covering today, we're going to be talking about creating and sharing registrations in ChurchTrac, how we do that. Then we're going to talk about how to register for an event. Matt's actually going to walk through on the phone and show in real time registering for an event. And then we're going to talk about managing your event registrations. So if you've got a coffee handy, go ahead, grab your coffee. I've got a coffee mug, but it's filled with water because the team told me no more coffee for you.
Oh, that's sad.
They say I talk too fast when I drink coffee, so it is water, and that is not as fun as coffee. All right, so let's dive in. So I'm logging into my ChurchTrac account, and we're going to go ahead and go to the events and attendance screen here. And this is where we can go ahead and create those events. As you see, I had like an Easter egg hunt just not too long ago there. So we want to create an event, Matt, and I want to create a summer camp registration.
Okay.
So the first thing we got to do is we got to say, well, when is this thing happening? And for this summer camp, I'm going to say that we're going to have this summer camp. It's going to start on June 30th.
Okay.
We'll do that. That sounds like a good date. We're going to call this summer camp. And I'll just say this is an all-day event that's happening. And so it starts on June 30th, and then it ends on, we're going to say we come back on July 7th.
Nice. So we get to watch the fireworks from the camp.
That's right, man. Now, location, I'm going to say the location for this. Now, ahead of time, I'd recommend putting in the location of the camp and everything, but I'm just going to say the front field because that's actually where we meet to be able to get everyone on the buses and everything. Head out. Calendar, we're going to put this on the master calendar. I can also publish this event to the public calendar. Now, you can do this later on after you create an event registration. I'm going to go ahead and just create it now simply because I'm literally about to create the registration.
Absolutely.
So let's rock and roll.
We know what we're doing.
So now we can create our registration, and the way we do that is by selecting Set up registration for this event. Okay, now we are ready to start this train. So the first thing you do is you pick who can register for this event. 99% of the time, I feel like, Matt, it's always anyone. Because we want people, anybody that's, whether they're associated with our church or not, we want them to register for an event at our church because our church holds a lot of things for the community.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to say anyone. Now, if you wanted to limit this to just people that are Church Connect users, so people that are like members at your church, you could select that, but we're going to say anyone. Then, all right, registration method. This is so important. I just want to kind of quickly throw this out there. The single registration method, this is really just like a quick registration method, things for like maybe like a church supper, or you're just needing to know like who specifically is coming to something. The count is when you want to give people the option to be able to add additional number of people that are coming with them.
Yeah, count is for a head count.
Yeah, which again, I said supper earlier, but like, I mean, I see a lot of churches that have like different events that like potlucks, things like that. They'll use the count method. Anytime we're dealing with events though, I mean, like when we're talking about events that have, like we want specific details recorded on each person that's registering, this is the situation where we use detail.
Yes, because for both of our examples, VBS and youth camp, you want to know things like allergies for each child, and maybe T-shirt size, and emergency contact for each child.
That is a huge one.
So you got to ask that information for each individual child, not just in one sign-up form for who knows how many kids that parent is bringing with them.
Yeah.
So detailed is what we're going to go with.
All right, so now enable registration for this event. Now we are ready to get this going. So you can either start by creating your form questions for an event, or you can start by creating your attendee types and costs. Now, we're doing a camp registration for our summer camp. So I'm going to go ahead and go to attendee types and costs. And we have a lot of different options. If you've already connected ChurchTrac with Stripe, you can actually accept payments for your events. And so I can just say, we want to actually have a payment required. And then from here, I can go ahead and select the category in which I want those payments to go. Like this, in this case, I did youth ministry income just because that's where we want all that money to go. And now I can start creating these attendee types. So here's the first one. I'm going to create a camper for my first attendee type. Except I got to spell camper, right? Goodness gracious. All right, camper, attendee cost. Now I can put in the amount. Let's say $250 for the cost for a camper. And then I want to add another one, Matt, because not only do we want campers to come to our summer camp, but we need volunteers.
Absolutely. We need someone to watch those kids.
So and counselor. So we're going to have counselor.
Counselor.
I just got to spell it right. Jeez. I'm having one of those days where I just can't spell.
Maybe you needed that coffee.
I think I did. All right, so attendee costs. Now for our counselors, we try to keep it very inexpensive for them, and so it's actually just $75 if you're a counselor, because you are giving your time and everything to be a counselor. So now that's it. I could create additional ones here, but that's all we need for this one, so I'm going to hit close. All right, now form questions. This is where we can really build out these forms and ask the specific questions to everybody who is going to be attending, whether they're attending as a camper or a counselor. Now, by default, ChurchTrac will automatically want to ask for a name and email, but I can add additional questions here.
Right.
And so 9 times out of 10, I just go straight to the pre-built.
I do too.
Yeah,
it's just quick. You just click, 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 and you have at least 3 fields into your form right off the bat.
Yeah, so like let's go to pre-built real fast just because, okay, I want the phone number of people who are registering. I want to know, I don't necessarily, we'll get age group just because I want to know what age the counselors are and everything. And then emergency contact is already there.
T-shirt
Allergies,
size.
yes, T-shirt size. Just a special shout out to potluck sign up if you're ever doing potlucks, but this is not that situation. Now I can just go ahead and add selected fields. And we got them. We're added.
We're halfway done with our form already. That's
which
nice.
Is kind of wild that you can build a form so fast here. So now I'll just go ahead. I'm going to require that someone fill out all of these here because we need to have this information. T-shirt size, small, medium, large, extra large. I'm going to add one extra option, and it's going to be the XXL. For some of the guys that work out a lot, you know, we need the bigger T-shirts for them. All right, cool. Hit close. So now I've got this built out, and then a few other options we have here. Max attendee cap, you can put a cap on an event. Event description, highly recommend putting a description in your event like this is our summer camp, blah, 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 whatever you want to put there. And then event image, totally should put an event image. I actually created one on Canva the other day that I can just drag and drop right in here.
Nice. All right. It makes it really stand out.
Yeah, it looks sweet. I am not that good at creating images, but I'm really good at pulling stuff other people have made and reusing it. So there you go. And then I can have a registration deadline if I wanted to as well. So June 30th is when this is happening. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, you know what? Registration deadline is going to be on June 15th. There we go. And then I can notify a specific user if I wanted to every time someone registers. And I can also automatically send a confirmation email.
Nice.
And you can customize that out. Pretty standard stuff you'd expect to have in a tool like this. Okay, that's it. Close. So that is creating an event. We have just created a summer camp registration just like that.
And with a little bit of prep work on the front end, creating that image, it really only took you a few minutes to put together that form, add the event, also list off the different attendees and the costs and everything. So the whole process and the groundwork is laid.
Yeah, it's laid. And so let's go ahead. I really quickly created a summer camp registration. Let's do VBS.
Okay.
I'm going to do VBS. All right, so let's pick a date here. Let's say our VBS, we're going to hold our VBS on, it's going to start on, how about a Wednesday? So it's going to be Wednesday, June 21st. And we're going to call this VBS. So it starts Wednesday, and it's going to go through that Sunday because we have a really big musical that we like to do with all the kids, and such a great opportunity for the parents to come watch their kids sing all the songs. Those VBS songs, oh my goodness, they're still stuck in my head from 5 years ago.
I just got them out of my head. Please don't put them back in.
Maybe some of you in chat can relate to that. And I already see Hanson asking about going over QR code now. Yeah, we're going to talk about sharing all that.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Just hang tight.
So, all right, we've got our VBS event here. Got my start date, got my end date. I'm just going to pick my location. I'm just going to say worship building. And again, you can create your own location, everything, put it on a calendar, publish this to the public calendar. Registrations, go ahead, set up registrations for this event. So as you can see, I mean, we're already feeling like we're living in the movie Groundhog Day because it's all coming back again, the same thing. So who can register? Again, anyone for this. Choose a registration method. We want detailed, and you're going to see really like more so why you want the detailed and everything as we show you when we register for this. So enable registration for this event.
Here we go.
Got it. Okay. So now from here, and one thing I do want to point out, as people start registering for an event, you cannot modify that event. So once you have your first registrant that jumps in there and they register, you can't change up things because you've already had it started. And so you would need to delete that event and recreate it. Just a thing to kind of point out. All right, attendee types and costs. All right, so we're going to say no payment in this situation. This is VBS. We're not asking for payment here. And so we're going to say attendee type, child, and then another attendee type. We're going to say, this is actually going to be volunteer. And yes, I spelled volunteer right today. Goodness. All right, so got my attendee types. Now we got our form questions. And again, it automatically asks for name and email. I know what some of you are thinking, what about kids? Kids don't have emails. I mean,
right. Some
kids do, but typically not a 6-year-old. I mean, a 6-year-old's probably not going to have an email address. At least I hope not. All right, so create questions here. So I'm going to go straight to my pre-builts just because it makes life easy. So we're going to say phone number. We're going to say age group. We do t-shirt size. We want that as well. Allergies, yes. Emergency contact, yes.
Let's also ask for their address so that you can send stuff in the mail to those families that don't already go to church.
Yes. And
reach out to them.
We could even like send them mailers like maybe like a couple weeks before the VBS just to remind them about stuff.
Absolutely.
And everything. Yeah. Cool. Add selected fields. All right, got all the fields added. And again, I mean, you can customize this out. You can just say, you know what, I don't want to say your phone number. I just want to put phone number on that question there. I can do that. I can require it. So I'm going to require all these real fast. And also, when you're building out your form fields, you can reorder them. And so if you said, you know what, I want the t-shirt size to actually be the last question that I ask, well, you can move that down and do that. So really great thing to be able to just customize these things out exactly the way we want.
Yep.
All right, close. And again, I could put a capacity if I wanted to. Event description, yay, VBS, whatever you want to say. Obviously, you don't want to say yay, VBS, but I just don't want to sit here and write a paragraph when we're live on air. All right, now event image. I'm going to drag and drop an event image. So let's go ahead, jump over to my computer. I actually pulled the event image for this year's VBS. Look at that, twists and turns.
Whoa, that looks fun. Makes me think of Chutes and Ladders.
What is that? Is that like Chutes and Ladders with a mix of the game Sorry? I can't even tell.
I don't know. Whatever it is, it sounds fun.
All right, so twists and turns.
I
want to go. Now, someone was asking earlier, what about event URL and QR code? Well, this is where you find it. So if I were to click this right now, I have got a unique URL and a unique QR code that has been generated specifically for this event.
This event, yep. For this form, like to be more particular, that QR code and that link takes people directly to the sign up form.
Yes, so they can sign up for this event and everything. So that is that. And you can share this in so many different ways, and we'll talk about that. So I've got my event created there. I could put a deadline if I wanted to. I could notify a specific user. I could send a confirmation email. And there you go. I have just created my registration for VBS.
Nice.
Pretty awesome.
Very excited.
All right. Now, Matt, we've created a registration, but that's only half the part, because you can create a registration all day long, but if you don't tell people about the registration, nobody is going to fill it out.
Absolutely. You have to give people access to the form. You have to share and make an announcement. There's a lot of different ways you can do that through ChurchTrac.
Yeah.
First of all, you can click on whatever event. Let's just use the VBS as an option. Go to Setup, and then grab that link, and you can send it in an email or a text message right from your ChurchTrac account. So you can just...
I'm trying to grab it, and I can't get it.
Wes, come on now. You know better than that.
So there we go. View
you just
event
copy
URL.
and paste the URL for the form, and then jump into the People screen and go to the Messaging tab. That's where you can send out emails or text messages to everybody that you have in your database. So whether you want to send it by email or text, you can do that right from ChurchTrac, and also send out, you can even select who you send it to through those smart lists.
So I can say, hi, register for the event for VBS, whatever. Obviously, you don't want to say, just send an email blanket like that, but there you go. And then I just pasted the link in there. So that is one way, sending the emails, sending text messages. I mean, highly recommend just sending a mass text to people, because
Absolutely.
This is like, was it 98% of people that receive a text message actually open and read it?
Within like 3 minutes.
Golly, that's crazy.
As opposed to like 98% of people read an email within like 2 weeks. So emails don't get read nearly as often as text messages do. Another way to do it is you can go where it has the option to copy and paste the link. You can just download the QR code, and you can put it at your church, like in the welcome area or on a slide during service.
Yes.
You can also add the link to social media, so you can post about it from your church and ask your members to share it, just to spread the word.
Now, I wouldn't recommend putting the QR code like on like a Twitter post or Facebook post or something,
because people are on their phone when they look at it, so they can't scan it.
They're like, I can't scan a QR code when I'm looking at it from my phone. Now, let's talk about Church Connect, because this is another area that you can share your event. So, by the way, if you've been living under a rock for a little bit, it's okay. Come out of the rock. We're going to talk about Church Connect. What is Church Connect, Matt?
Church Connect is 3 things. I can't spit it out. It's a website, it's a smartphone, and it's a member portal, all rolled into one feature. So you can have this as a full website. You can use this just as a smartphone app for your members. But regardless, you also have the ability, or your members will have the ability to sign in to an account in Church Connect, access their profile and their donation history. It's really powerful. It's really awesome. Highly recommend you jump in and set that up if you haven't already.
Yeah, and so what I want to do is I want to actually add this to my Church Connect, because all my people at my church, they're going to be going to it, or we're going to put this link to my Church Connect and other areas to share with our community. So what we do is we just go to our Connect menu and we're going to add a card, because that's Church Connect is built out of all these different cards, everything from like a connection card to a prayer request card. And in this situation, I want to create a registration card. So I'll add this card. Now from here, I can go ahead and start dictating everything I want. So the first thing I need to do is I need to pick an event. So in this situation, I want to put VBS. That is the event. And look at that. It automatically pulled in that VBS event. Click here to register, put the date. I love that picture. It's just so cool. So now I can, another thing too I want to point out is you can hide a card after a certain date. It's really key. So like I can say, all right, this event starts on the 21st of June. So like I want it hidden on the 21st. So I don't want people just going there. Actually, we'll do one day later just in case a kid comes late. But yeah, after that, I don't want my Church Connect being cluttered with stuff that's already past the date. So then we can just hit close and there we go. And so I've got it added right there. Now, another thing I always recommend doing too, so like I'll just delete this real quick because I want to show you this, because a lot of times when we're adding events, we're wanting to put those events at the top. And so whenever you are creating your event, like I'll add a card, registration card. And again, I did it again, Matt. I can't believe I keep doing this. We're going to delete it. Connect menu, add a card.
Registration
card.
Scroll down to the bottom.
Yeah, I want to add this card to the top, because a lot of times we are just adding to the top. So it just makes life easier when you automatically just get it added to the top. And then I can say, okay, I want that VBS right there. And so it adds it to the top.
That way it's the first thing people see when they go to your Connect app.
Yeah, we definitely want to do that. So now let's talk about registering for an event. We talked about how to create an event from start to finish, doing all the form fields and the registrant types and stuff. But now we want to actually give our people the ability to register.
Absolutely. So we've laid the groundwork, we've created the event, we've created the form. Now people have to actually sign up. And we've also covered how to share it. Let's go through the process of actually filling out the form and registering, and then managing those registrations in the ChurchTrac account. So what I'm going to do is I have a smartphone and I've got the app for this church downloaded already. I'll open up the app and let me refresh it because I had it open earlier. There's the form. All right, so there's the VBS event that Wes added as a card at the very top. I'll go ahead and tap the click to register button at the very bottom. Now actually, you know what, before I'm going to sign in. Should I sign in or should I?
Okay, might as well.
I'll sign in as a member of this church. So your members can sign in. And the benefit of doing so is that their name and email address will already be injected into the form. So they don't have to fill that out every time.
Yeah.
Because we ask for the name and email address automatically. But if your members sign in, we already know who they are. So we just add that to the form for them. So I'm going to register for this event as a church member. Now I'm going to enter the information of my kid that I am signing up for the event. So we'll say this is Jacob. Put in just a last initial real quick. Email address, I'll put in my own email address at churchtrac.com. And the attendee type, he's a child, he's not a volunteer. Phone number. Actually, you know what? I should probably just sign myself up for this there we go. I'll sign myself up for this because I'm gonna also lead as a volunteer for this event. So we'll demonstrate that.
Might as well. So you can do both at the same time. And that's the beauty of these detail cards that Matt's filling out, is that you don't have to just keep constantly going through and having some like long registration process. I mean, you can go through and actually register yourself, then register each child and have all of that detailed information for them. And you can see all that information as a parent who's registering your kids. And I definitely recommend when you're creating forms for your events, you don't want to ask for too much information. You always want to ask for the information you actually need and are going to use. Because the longer you make forms, Matt, you always say this, it's like when you're doing like a race around a track and you have hurdles.
Yeah.
Each question you ask is a hurdle.
Yes. Every field in a form is a hurdle the person has to jump over. If you imagine a form, like the finish line is a completed form, and the person is standing at the beginning of the race with an uncompleted form, every field you add is a hurdle they have to jump over to get to that finish line,
Yeah.
which makes the race harder, and it will actually discourage some people from finishing the race. Some people will look at it, if there's 1,000 form fields,
Yeah.
they'll just say, I'll fill it out later.
And then they
never do.
So,
So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to add another attendee. I've signed myself up as a volunteer for the event. Now I'm going to sign my son up for the event. Email address is just going to be mine again.
it just made me think of 21 questions, Matt. You don't want to ask your people 21 questions.
Attendee type is a child. No, you definitely don't. Not on a form. Phone number is mine again. 555-5555. Very easy to remember. He's a child. Emergency contact, me. Allergies, none. Street address. T-shirt size, small. Continue. So there's me signing up as a volunteer and my son signing up as an attendee. So both of those things were taken care of in one registration form. I'll say I'm done adding attendees, complete registration, and we're done. So I have registered for this event. I have also registered my son. Now that that's completed though, I have also received an email confirmation, which you set up through that registration process.
Yeah.
And now Wes is going to jump back into ChurchTrac, and we're going to manage the signups and the registrants for this event. So under events and attendance, all he has to do is jump into that event again. Just click on that event.
So VBS.
And then you can click setup to edit anything. However, now that this event has a registrant, you can't edit most of the details of the event. So now we'll just go into view registrants, and there I am. So there's my son Jacob and me, Matt, under Ronald Swanson. That's our that's our church member account that we have. But I signed myself up and my son, and both of those registrations are here. Now, Wes, though, there's a lot more than just a list of names and a list of people who have signed up here.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about what people can do with this screen?
So I think it's just worth going systematically. So you can actually add names to an event. So like, let's say you just want to go ahead and you have an event in which you have people that you already know are going to be there. I mean, you could just add them right from here and just start typing out a name individually.
Well, especially like this, you may already know who's going to volunteer to serve for VBS. So might as well just go ahead and drop those people's names into this list.
Yeah, and so that's one option you have, or you can add names from a smart list or add names from a tag. So that's one thing to keep in mind. The other thing that we have going on here too is the ability to send out an email. And
this is crucial.
Yes, this is so key because it's one thing to get all these registrations coming in for an event, but we need to communicate with our registrants leading up to the event and also after the event.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so from here, I can go to send an email. And let's pretend that I had way more than just 2 people signed up for this. Let's say there were 200. I could actually say, you know what? I want to send an email to everybody who has registered. I can do that. And then automatically the software is going to ask me, do I want to replace the subject and the message? I can say okay, and then it just changed the subject and the message. And I really appreciate the small things like this, just because a lot of times when we are emailing our registrants, it's typically because we want to remind them about it.
Yes.
And so it automatically put that in there for me. But you can edit this, and maybe I can say, hey, this is a reminder. But I can say, you know what, that sounds a little cold for VBS. And I can say, woo-hoo, only 2 weeks until VBS. And then I can maybe mention something about how we're doing a food drive at this VBS and, just tell everyone, hey, bring your canned foods whenever you come to VBS or something, whatever it may be.
Absolutely.
Or let's say you have a situation, this is a really good one. Maybe you have a situation in which you allow people, you give them the option to either pay to register for an event or pay later. Camp is a really good example of this.
Camp.
And so then I can send an email to everybody who is unpaid. So, and then again, the software is going to automatically kind of guess, oh, okay, if I'm sending an email to people who are unpaid, it's probably because they have an unpaid balance. And so then I can say hi, and then from here, I can ask people to pay now and stuff like that.
You can send that as like the deadline for the payment comes up, because the church has to send off that payment to the camp. So the parents need to turn in their payment for their kids before that day. So Here's a reminder. Please make sure you submit your payment before X date.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously don't want to be like, "Where's my money, Brian?" But you want to be nice about it. So that is a great thing in there. So emailing. Another thing we have here is the event report, and this just gives you the ability to quickly download a report of every single person that's registered for that specific event right from here. But wait, there's more. You can also download that report as a CSV file and open it up in your favorite spreadsheet program, whether that is Google Sheets, if you're weird like me and you use Apple Numbers, or if you're using Excel, you can download that CSV file and view it in there. Now, another thing that's really neat is you can actually show matched names on the people screen. This is really convenient if you have an event in which most of the registrants, or maybe all of the registrants, are already in your church database.
Yeah, especially like because in the registration setup process, you can select that only Connect users can sign up. So if that's the case, then you can pull up the list of those people who have signed up for the event on the people screen. It'll auto-generate that list for you.
Yeah, and I see a lot of churches, they'll use this for events because they want to then show those people on the people screen and then go and send them a text message or something. So it's some really wild stuff. Another thing too, we have the settings, so you can go to the setup for this event right from here. And then we have this refresh button I just want to point out. So like as people register, you keep pushing this refresh button, you're going to start seeing more people pop up if they're currently registering. Yeah, like right here in the moment. I was actually talking to one church leader who they had this open, and then during the church service, they were giving people the ability to register, and so they would just hit refresh, and boom, there'd be like 10 more people registered and stuff. So
Nice.
really great stuff. So that is the process of being able to actually go through and manage your registrations for that event. So very quick here. I mean, we wanted to be very pointed in just showing you the whole process from start to finish of doing the registrations, from creating the events to then actually being able to share those events with your church, with your community, with everybody who you want to be a part, but then also taking it to the next level and then managing all those registrants so that way you can actually communicate with people, which I would argue, Matt, is probably one of the most important things when it comes to putting on any sort of event, not even just church, but in general, is that communication leading up to the event and then the communication
and some
afterwards.
follow-up. Yeah, absolutely. Especially for summer camp and VBS. The best thing you can do for both of those things is take pictures during the event of all the kids having fun, and then maybe create like, I do this in Google Photos, but you can create a link to a photo album. I'm sure you could probably do it with like Apple Photos. Yeah. And then share that in the email. Like you jump into the registrant list, put that in the email to show them all the fun that the kids had during the week.
I remember it was one of my friends' churches. They did it during the week. They would give the parents like a status update of like, hey, we had 2 kids come to know Jesus today. Here's a picture of one of them getting baptized and stuff. And so like that just got the church so pumped.
Absolutely. I've seen churches create like private Facebook groups or Instagram accounts to share the photos there. Yeah. So that, and the parents can like join that or follow that so they can watch and keep up with it throughout the week.
Awesome. All right, so we've covered the material very quickly, and the reason we did that is because we really just wanted to kind of have a time of just answering some questions here. And so really that's what we're going to do is we just want to, I mean, this chat is wide open. Now, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, currently right now as we're doing this live stream, we don't see anything you're asking. You'll need to join on that Vimeo link. So that way you can actually jump in the Vimeo chat and ask us some of the questions here. And if you are watching in the future, obviously you can't ask questions live because we did this maybe 5 weeks ago or something, but you can always just reach out to our support team and ask questions. Just go to churchtrac.com/support and create a support ticket, and we'll get with you in a jiffy on that. So any questions you have, I see a couple coming in here. So Angel had a question. Danielle, it looks like. So Matt, let's answer some questions.
So Danielle asks, how do you get kids that registered for an event such as Easter into the database so you can print out address for mailings? Or do you have to enter each visitor into people so you can print? Yes, if people sign up for an event, that does not add them to the people screen. So you'll have to enter that information on the people screen so that you can like send them texts and emails afterwards.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me to something really good to point out. When someone is creating that event registration, because ChurchTrac, our pricing is based on number of names in your database, and so the last thing you want to do is maybe you have some event. It's like a big community event or something, and you have 100 people register, and you're on a 250 tier with like 200 people in your database that go to your church, and then all of a sudden you're like, so am I gonna have to pay for all these people just because I had a registration? No, it doesn't work like that. But that is like the double-edged sword, is because you're not having to have all those people be counted towards your database. That if you do want to add those people to your database, you do have to actually manually add in their data so you have the right data and everything. Now, that is a feature we're kind of thinking through, like how would that look? Maybe being able to take a registrant that you already have information and then automatically getting them added. Stay tuned. We're always trying to make really cool features in the software to just make things better and stuff. I mean, that's how we got a lot of features for registrations. So,
well, not just registrations, but everything
literally
in the
everything.
software. Most of the things are suggestions by other churches. So if at any point you're in your account, just click that orange help button at the top of the screen, open up a support ticket, and in that support ticket, you can make a new feature request. So let us know how we can improve the software for you.
And Angel had a really good thing just talking about those CSV files, because I've been asked before, so like going back to our VBS registration, so whenever we go to our view registrants and having the ability to download a CSV file, there are a lot of situations, Matt, where you want to like organize all those registrations in a certain way. And so by just being able to download that CSV file, which opens up in any spreadsheet program like Google Sheets or something, I mean, then from there you can actually go ahead and maybe move this column over here. Maybe I can sort it to where I want to be sorted by people who have registered and by people who have paid, stuff like that. So that's why we give you the power to be able to do those sorts of things.
Now, Asante Church, and I hope I'm saying that correctly, you have a very good question. And someone else in the chat had a similar question. I think it was Appointed and Anointed Tabernacle. Asante, you asked, what is the best way to have registration for small group when we have different groups on different days of the week with different studies? Should I create a page card with different options, having URLs to registration cards of specific groups? And then what was it? Appointed and Anointed, you asked for camp. If you have multiple 4 weeks of camp, obviously you're probably hosting it just 1 week at a time, but they're across 4 weeks. How do you get signups for those individual weeks? Asante, your idea is actually pretty good to create a page card with different links, and you can just grab the URLs from those different events and put those in. However, I'm thinking just for simplicity's sake, in the form for the event, just create a drop-down menu. You can create a custom field and add a drop-down menu that gives people the option to select which group or which summer camp week they're wanting to sign their kids up for.
Yeah, that's actually...
That way it's all on one form. You don't have to create 4 or multiple different events on the calendar and then create a form for each one and then try to get them the right link to the right one.
Yeah.
You just create one event, one form, and give people the option to select which thing in that event they want to participate in.
Yeah, and obviously, we're talking more specifically about like big events with summertime signups. And Asante Church is kind of more so focused on, hey, these are weekly small groups and stuff. So my question to Asante Church would be like, are you more so focused on just being able to track attendance for those small groups? Because when you start getting into a realm of wanting to do a registration every single week for every single small group, that can be a little much.
Well, not quite, because like at my church, we launched a small group program and had like a few weeks where we announced it and had a sign-up table to join a group. So it was all at once for encouraging a big push.
So you're talking about, okay, I see
there was
what
like a
you're saying.
big push for everyone to get into that program and join a group. I'm assuming Asante Church, you probably have a similar thing where a certain time of year you have that big push, you get more people to sign up.
Okay, so I was thinking more of like a weekly basis registration.
No,
and so Asante Church is probably talking more so about just all their
just
Makes
to
sense.
launch people into a group.
Yeah, and that's a pretty common thing that we see. And in fact, summertime's a great time of year to do that.
Absolutely.
Especially getting people ready for a lot of families, the school year coming up, and they want to get plugged into a small group when that school year starts. That's actually what my church does. is that we have this big push during the summertime. So that way when people are no longer on their family vacations and everything, get them registered for a discipleship group so they can be a part and be plugged in. So definitely you can do a lot of that there.
Yes, just tracking joining the group. I didn't know how to show all the info needed on one registration drop-down form. So yeah, just create a field. It's either like a multiple choice, and they can click on the bubble, or they can select from like a drop-down menu. There's a few different form field options that would be relevant and useful for what you're looking for. So you can pick whichever you prefer.
Cool.
Danny, can you import a registration form to use instead? There's not like a form importation option, but the process of creating a form like Wes showed was super simple. We have those pre-built options that will just shoot a few fields into the form with just a few clicks of the mouse. But creating like a custom form is really, really easy. Wes is just going to throw together a quick event.
Yeah, I'm just going to do a really quick event just to show this. So I just called this a test event happening on a certain day. Set up registration, anyone.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'll just do a count, whatever.
Sure.
So then we've got it. So when you go to your form questions, so we kind of more so focused on just using the pre-built ones just because a lot of times those pre-built ones have everything.
Just so quick and easy.
Plus you can edit them, which I really love. So, but you can actually import. And so from here, you can actually import your different form questions from form cards that you may have. And so from here, I can search that if I had specific ones. So that's something worth noting there, that you can create your own and then import those. And I mean, there's so many options here. Like Matt, when you talked a little bit earlier about, regarding Asante Church trying to do discipleship groups and having drop downs and stuff. I mean, there are so many options in which you can give your people when they're registering an event to really get specific information if you're needing it. I mean, like yes, no questions, a sign up quantity, being able to have like a multiple choice or like a checklist. So there's a lot of options there. But again, pre-built, I feel like the pre-built one, we actually spent a lot of time when we were developing registrations. I can't remember if you were a part of this, where we were trying to think what are the most common things that churches put on registrations, so that way we can just have them already there.
Okay.
So that was a lot of going back and forth with some groups to just kind of understand the needs of churches.
Anointed and Appointed asked a really good question.
Okay.
Can you save the registration form as a template like you can in worship and scheduling? And actually, yes. If you go to form questions and then add a question, there's an import option there. Now, that's not a true import. That's like what Danny was asking. It's more just if you've created a form before in ChurchTrac, you can use that form again. So it does act as a template, essentially. So the answer to your question is yes.
I thought I answered it, but I guess I maybe have like gotten carried away talking about the other things. That's so funny. Okay. Any other questions regarding that? I don't see any. This is we almost timed this perfectly.
I
just
know.
be able to go through all this. There are so many options in registrations, and I just want to encourage all of you. I mean, if you ever run into a situation, you're like, which situation should I do this? Like, especially that question from Asante Church, it was a really good one, just because a lot of times in software, especially in our software, there are multiple ways to do things.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
so it just comes down to looking at your ministry and thinking, okay, we're trying to accomplish this, and I can do it this way, I can do it this way, and just thinking, what is the simplest way, what is the easiest way to manage? And so if you ever have those sorts of questions where you're looking at the software and you're like, I really just want to know, like, what's the best way to do this, because I see there's 2 or 3 different ways I could really tackle this, just reach out to us. Go to our Facebook group,
Absolutely.
Jump in there. There are so many people in our Facebook group that really just, they provide so much insight. In fact, I saw, I think it was a couple weeks ago, a pastor was helping another pastor figure out online giving. And just the amount of insight and wisdom that so many people on there have, because
absolutely.
they have been doing this for a while,
so
and they've been using our software to do these things. So it's kind of cool to see that.
Yeah, so definitely click on the link that I just dropped into the chat. Request to join the Facebook group. It's a great community. Also, again, We mentioned it earlier, the YouTube channel. Definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll post this video there again in a few days.
Yeah.
And any other future webinars we do like this, and other just user guide videos, and just everything else we add. We have a lot of different content that we put into the YouTube channel. So go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date on everything we add there.
All right. Well, Matt, I appreciate you taking the time looking at these summertime signups.
It's always fun. I'm looking forward to my summer as well, going to the beach with the family, and then with the church too.
And then I'm actually, it's so funny. I had sent this to my worship leader. It was a song from like many VBSs ago. And I was just like, I'm not going to lie, this is the most incredible song that I think we should do in big church. So we may be doing that. We'll see. Fingers crossed. But you all have a great rest of your week, and we will talk to you soon.